share my screen. We will, thank you, Nathan. We'll get things rolling, perhaps. And that means I have to do this and come back to this. Here we go. And it'll take me a minute. You're gonna need a labyrinth. I hope you brought a labyrinth with you. Um, and you're going to say, I don't have a labyrinth. What do you mean? I have to build one in my backyard? You don't have to build one, but you can go to these places and whoops, continue to share. Yes. Um, listed here. You can go to and you could just print one out, a paper one. Then you can trace with your finger or with a pencil. That's I have some people have they're sort of plastic. Katie, can you hold yours up? Is it the same as mine?
Is that
Yeah.
disturbing you?
No, you
No.
should. You.
And the benefit of this kind, they last. They're, you know, I guess you could melt it, but it's otherwise indestructible. Your finger can go in this little groove, and that means when I walk with you, I can close my eyes and use my non-dominant hand and just really meditate, because that's the point of this, and we'll be meditating, I hope, for about 12 minutes or so. It's a little longer time. But those two places have a couple different papers oh good, there's Katie's, yeah. And yeah, and does anybody need help or time to like, oh great, John's got one. Yay. Kathleen, do you have something? Do you have a printer?
Yeah.
Okay, this one is very easy to get to, viriditas.org. And on the very first page, maybe halfway down, you can click on something and print your paper labyrinth that looks like this. This one is like a whoops, I gotta see, 800-year-old pattern from the floor of the cathedral in Chartres, France. So and anybody having trouble or
Hello and welcome.
hi. All right. So we're celebrating Lammas today. Um, has anybody celebrated Lammas before? Some of you might have been here last year. Yeah, Katie has. Spring Bank Retreat. If you can show yourself for at least a few minutes, that would be nice. We'd like to see you if possible. And Carol, hello, welcome. Yeah, great. Okay, I don't think we've seen Spring Bank yet. Do you know who that is, Nathan?
Nope, no
Okay.
idea.
All right. Well, we'd like to see you, Spring Bank. So Llamas, the walks that I offer for CSC are on the solstice or equinox or the cross quarter days. And I understand that there are even lots of Episcopal churches, I don't know about lots, but Episcopal churches that celebrate Lammas as Loaf Mass Day. That's how it went from the Celtic tradition and became Christianized, I guess. So it's the beginning of the harvest season because in Celtic spirituality, there are three harvests. This one, and then at the equinox, this one's usually for grains. Although, I mean, I'm sure some of you are harvesting tomatoes at this time. And then around the September equinox, at least in the northern hemisphere, I think we get lots of apples and fruits like that. And then and around Halloween is the third harvest. And then of course Thanksgiving in Canada is celebrated like between that second and third harvest, and Thanksgiving in the US comes in November. But okay, so it's Anita. Very good. Okay. So that's what this is, the festival of the first harvest, and you can see the bread, and it made the transition or the syncretism to Christianity with the bread that is used at in some rituals, huh? So why is it important? Why is it important for us? We may not all even be Christians, you know. Why am I talking about this? Well, the first cuttings of the grain crops provide food for the upcoming winter. You know, they stored food so they wouldn't starve during the winter. But those first cuttings also provide the seed necessary to plant the crop in the spring. And when you put that together, the combination guarantees the continuation of the people, which I think is lovely. It's not just now we want to eat now. It's like um, we need to keep this going on forever. We're going to need to eat oh, next year too, and the year after, etc. And what does it have to do with four paths? So the creation spirituality embraces the four paths that Matthew Fox brought us. And that first path is remembering thanks and awe. It really is kind of awesome that such continuity has been happening on this planet for thousands of years because human beings embraced agriculture 10 to 12,000 years ago. You know, so they've been doing something like this. Oh, by the way, that background is barley that I hiked next to in June in the UK in the Cotswolds area. We did a hike and in the beginning of the hike we were walking through barley. We were in the middle of the field, which I don't know if that ever happens in the United States. But the directions even said, you know, we got to a certain point on the edge of the field, follow the path across the field and you'll end up at the church. And then you do something. And there were these like big, I guess they were like tire marks. And yeah, ours was going right across the way, but there were crisscrossed ones too. I mean, this was used by people. And I kept thinking of that beautiful Sting song about the fields of barley, the golden fields of barley. And I thought, well, this isn't gold. But then by the end of the hike, it was, you know? And I was all excited about that. And I like Sting. And there you go. I'm giving you my age. But anyway. um, so the remembering part can be in the awe of this because we are entering a morphic field. I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. And then for the second path, releasing our pain at the existence of food insecurity, which is just so apparent still. It was a year ago, and it's even more heartbreaking in Gaza now and elsewhere. Outright starvation. So we can enter the darkness, we can breathe in that pain and breathe out healing for those people. And then in the center of the labyrinth, we can receive new eyes to see our part, our co-creative part of this respect and the interdependency of the web. What can we do? And then as we exit the labyrinth, we can celebrate the wisdom of the universe, the one song, as we enter the morphic field. Now, before we do that, let me ask, are there any folks here, and Nathan, you can help watch with me. Oh, hello, Anita and Monica, Sandra. Um, Anybody here who's never walked a labyrinth or maybe never done it this way? Any hands? Because no, everybody has. That's wonderful. So you know about the recommended steps are we remember on the way in, and there's only one way in. There's only one entrance. We release, and we receive in the center, and then we come out. Any questions about at least this is how I see applying this to the today to the four paths of creation spirituality. Okay. Possible ways for you to ritualize it, like, or maybe you already started to, because Lammas started yesterday. And in fact, my husband has become quite the bread maker, and he baked bread yesterday. I wasn't even thinking, oh, this is Lammas, but today I was, you know. Um, you can, any way to connect with nature, you know, if it's a nice day, take a little walk, even around your house once. You can create an altar. You can share the feast. In this case, bread or whatever you have an abundance of. You can make a corn dolly, which are these things in either corner. I don't think no, that's probably just a decoration for the door, these two. And you can do it any way your imagination conceives of it. You can write a letter of thanks, and it can be thanks to your source. It can be thanks to the planet to providing the abundance. You can, of course, and you can do this during the labyrinth walk, pray for continued planetary flourishing because we're in a rather precarious time, a lot of folks tell us right now. You can always, when we celebrate these cross-quarter days, ritualize with a little bit of fire, whether that means burning incense. Oh, and in fact, if you have a candle, let's at some point we'll light our candle. I need my matches. There we go. Because what they do, I've noticed, and a few years ago, I didn't know anything about these cross-quarter days. I am learning with you. You know, we teach what we need to learn. So here I am. They jump over the fire. You know, the smoke, I think, is a way of, in New Mexico, we called it smoking or smudging, you know, purifying to some extent. Um, and you just, some of those little things that were created, you can put on your door, you know, you can decorate with harvest materials. So I have I we're kind of in the beginning of this now. So if you have a candle, wonderful. If you don't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can use your finger. You can imagine the candle. I'm gonna light my candle, thinking about that first flaring forth that produced. I mean, the stars gave me the calcium. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Oops, let's see if it's gonna. There it goes. All right. The first flaring forth, and I think about enlightenment. You know, I think we come together to enlighten ourselves as a community, as a spiritual community, which is a special kind of circle to be in. So I'm going to read a poem by John O'Donohue, and it's the prayer before meals, the grace before meals. But I just kind of liked it. I hope you do. You might want to close your eyes. You might want to breathe in, kind of start calming yourself. As we begin this meal for us, as we begin this walk with grace, let us become aware of the memory carried inside food. Maybe the food before us, food that will be before us, that has been before us. The quiver of the seed awakening in the earth, unfolding in a trust of roots and slender stems of growth on its voyage toward harvest. The kiss of rain and surge of sun, the innocence of animal soul that never spoke a word, nourished by the earth to become today our food. The work of all the strangers whose hands prepared it and shipped it. the privilege of wealth and health that enables us to feast and celebrate. So I like to open walks with land acknowledgement. And for me, my land acknowledgement is is cosmological. It starts with Diane Longboat having taught me that we start with thanks. Anything important begins with thanks. And when I read Robin Wall Kimmerer, she emphasized that, and she talked about the kinship relationship, kinship, that we look at things, we spend time with nature, and we begin to see all these different entities, trees and rocks and birds and deer and possum, all these different dogs and cats as our kin. And we realize how we've been gifted, that we've done nothing to deserve all this abundance, all this wonder, all these gifts. And then we want to spend more time with them. And that increases our appreciation. And I think that's part of what we're doing. And I think that's part of what creation spirituality advocates. And I think that's a big part of what the earth needs today. I am thankful for our cosmos. Oh, yes. And before we begin, I want to use a little bit of body prayer because I often forget about doing that because it's not what I grew up with. But here's what I'm going to recommend, and you don't have to do it. If you want to do it, you can do it with me. So just a few motions of scattering seed. And I was thinking about that song from Godspell, about be blessed. Okay, scattering. And then, of course, we're talking today about harvesting. We harvest it in. We have to maybe chop it first, but we harvest it in and we contain it, at least a little bit of it, some of it, so that we can give it to the next generation. And maybe we'll do that just one more time. The scattering, and maybe the chopping, and the gathering, and the containing. And then after we store it, we give it. One last time. The scattering of the seed, and we chop or pluck and gather, and we contain the seed, and then we store and we hand on the seed. And I think of the cosmos and thank the cosmos for the calcium in my bones. I thank the cosmos for holding us today. And I think of the earth. I look north. I learned from my friend Judy Shook, whose grandpa was Cherokee, the certain directions are associated with certain elements, and north is earth. And I think of the earth that provided the dust I made from. So calcium from the stars in my bones, and then the earth fleshed me. I think of air. Take a big breath with me. Without air, we couldn't live. And at least in some places, the air is still very pure, and I'm thankful for that. And I look south, and you might even want to look to these directions. And I look to the sun that warms us, sometimes a little too much in the summer. The sun that warms us and sacrifices itself so that the green plants can use photosynthesis and feed us. Thank you, sun. and I look west to the water. And again, I mean, I grew up on the banks of the two biggest rivers in North America, the Mississippi and the Missouri. And I never thought about rivers, and Mississippi is very muddy, right? It's not like this at all. But I got out west and they call rivers what I would call a trickling creek, but I'm glad that they're there. I'm glad for rivers. Thank you, water. Thank you. And I look up to those stars again, and I am thankful for the stars and the beauty of the stars and this calcium I've referenced several times now. And I look down to the foundation beneath my feet, the mycelial systems, the roots of the plants. The trees are as deep below ground as they are high above ground. It's just a miracle. I thank you, foundation. Oh, and I think about my soul, and I'm thankful for my soul that wants to connect, because we are just a tiny part of this interdependent web of life that's we're the center of, each of us, and part of. It's just a miracle, and I don't understand it, but I believe it and feel it and love it. Thank you. Thank you, plants, green plants. Thank you, animals, a great diverse collection of animals. And all the indigenous peoples, I'm going to start with them, because whoever they were, and I'll tell you who my people were, they held ceremony on this land and took care of it for the most part for eons before we ever got here. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. So where I live in the eastern foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in central Virginia, the Monacans are the tribe, and I am thankful for them. I don't know them, unfortunately, but I do know that they had to fight just to claim their autonomy, just to claim what was already theirs. And I'm sorry for that. I regret that. All right. So I'm going to have some music that's Thanksgiving and blessing music. And I think we're probably ready. So it'll be about 12 minutes. If you have a tiny labyrinth, you might want to do it a few times. You might want to do the first part and then just kind of chill for the middle part and meditate while you're in the center. You might want to um, your imagination is the only thing limiting yourself to how you conduct this. So I'm going to stop sharing right now and invite you to take your labyrinth, whatever it is, in front of you. If you're using a pencil, you might want to draw little symbols instead of just a line, like maybe circles, skip a space, circle on the way in, and then on the way out, you can, in the blank part of the space, put a little X or something. That's, to me, that approximates taking steps a little more. Any questions before we get going? Hello, Janet. Glad you're here. Okay, good. Well, have a good walk, and I'll see you in about 12, 13 minutes, if I can do this next part correctly. So that's the end of the music. If you can kind of slowly make your way back to the circle, that would be great. I realized that I didn't say much about morphic field. If you've read Matthew Fox's work with Rupert Sheldrake, you may be familiar with that word. That's where I learned of it anyway. And he claims, Sheldrake tells us that when we enter a sacred circle, when we gather in a circle, we're joining with all the other circles that have occurred for today to celebrate Lammas, right? Our ancestors from thousands of years ago, perhaps. Um, I think about that more now as I also read that our ancestors can use some healing that we can provide. And I really have to think long and hard to wrap my brain around that, but it feels right that it's not just that we ask them to help us here, but that in fact they might still be working on their stuff and we can help them there. Who knows? So, all right, with that in mind, let me see if I can do this now. I want to share one little final thing here. Oh, here we go. And it's of course I can't, here we go. Just a minute. I didn't do it right. There's a sequence you have to follow or it doesn't work. Perhaps some of you know that. I don't want that. Here we go. I've got the right one. All right. Now I can share it with you. There we go. So we had O'Donoghue to start with. And this, let me see now. Poetry of the Harvest. Summer heat is at its peak, at least for many of us. The energy of a waning sun, the blessed union's first fruits. Twice providing for mankind, sustenance for the frigid months ahead, and seed for the next rebirth. The sun god surrenders his life freely and without remorse, so his earthly children may survive, never really abandoning us. His spirit consumed in the bread and stored in the planting grain. For the many, so goes the one. Yet fear not for the dying, instead think towards the resurrection. Because we are, ever since the summer solstice, we're on that entering the dark part of the year, the part where we'll take in the harvest. That's a lot of work for those who do that, but we also have time now to rest. We have time in the winter to rest, and it's an important Sabbath time, I believe. So happy Lammas, however you decide to celebrate it. And we are going to share if we had any uh,
Sit in that chair, huh?
inspirations while we were walking. So was that a question? I heard someone. No. Anybody, like while you were walking, did you get anything, any insight or inspiration while you were walking that you feel like you want to share with us today? I guess I've shared everything with you.
Well, I remembered a particular Labyrinth walk I did at the Franciscan Center that's here in Tampa, Florida. It's made out of shells. So sometimes I close my eyes and I just listen to the other people walking and that crunching. And I just remembered that sound of their footsteps crunching on the shells. It's very
Yeah.
comforting.
Yeah, but thanks for sharing that. Are you in Florida now?
Yes, I am. Mhm.
Yeah. I failed to ask us that. So Carol's in Florida, I'm in Virginia. I know Katie's in the Los Angeles area. Uh-huh. Nathan's Chicago. Anybody else want to share where you are? Yeah.
Atlanta.
Christine's in Atlanta. John?
Yeah,
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, hi, Diana. I'm from St. Louis originally.
yeah, I live in the Asheville area, Asheville, North Carolina. So, yeah, and for me, as I was going through the Labyrinth, your opening quote from John O'Donoghue, he's got some stuff on threshold, moving through thresholds, liminal space. And so I guess I was reflecting on thresholds and liminal space as I went through that.
Yeah, thanks, John. And this is a kind of a threshold. It's that halfway point between the summer solstice and the September equinox. So, and the labyrinth certainly has thresholds. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Somebody else was going to say something.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. I was just going to say I'm in Maryland, right outside Washington, D.C.
Okay, we're a few hours apart, you and I. Janet, how about you?
I'm up in Canada. I'm in Ottawa, just north
Oh,
of Toronto.
lovely. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Monica. I can't get my camera to do the right thing, but I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Ah, there we are.
Yay. Yay. Thanks for coming. Susan, how about you? Are you there? Maybe not. Never know. Okay. Anybody else want to share some thoughts from today?
Marianne, I loved the body prayer, and it seemed like you were doing part of it ad lib. It just kind of morphed. You had an idea and then you built on it. But that spreading seeds was so apropos. I'm coming off of, I don't know, 5 weeks. I was out of the country in Europe for a long, long time, and then really just gathering seeds, shall we say, and so back, kind of using that metaphor and thinking of sort of, okay, ready to be back. So,
And how are you going to use those seeds you've stored up?
oh gosh, are you really asking me that?
No, I'm saying that's probably in the back of your mind also.
Yeah, very much.
Thank you for sharing that, Katie. I hope you had a good trip.
It's great.
Yeah. Anybody else? Something to share? Diane, I have to ask you, have you walked the labyrinth at Mercy Center?
Yes, many times. And I'm actually part of the Take Up the Weeds crew that meets occasionally, because it's a living labyrinth, and many things grow that are planned and planted, and then many things grow that we don't think should grow there. So we help them to find another home in the compost pile.
Oh, congratulations. Well, just for your information, next year, October, so a whole year away,
Okay.
CSC will be hosting an in-person gathering at Mercy Center.
Wonderful.
So I hope you consider joining us for that and keep that save the date, so to speak. And I'll
Thank
share
you.
that with you in a few minutes, the specific dates.
Thank you. Jan Stocking and Diza Velasco are living at Mercy now, and they're hosting a get together on liminal space.
Mhm.
I think I don't know, in a week or two. It's coming, and we now only live a few miles from Mercy. So So it's a sacred space, but then where on this precious planet is not sacred space? You know, even though we have paved made parking lots out of beautiful spaces. You know, it's yeah, this
Yeah.
earth is sacred. Our Mother Earth is full of sacred spaces.
Absolutely. Thank you. Diza's
Thank
on our board, so we know Diza
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I'm very excited to do this weekend with her and my husband. So that'll be good.
Oh,
Yeah.
enjoy. That sounds great.
Thank you. Yeah. More liminal spaces, you know?
That's what the labyrinth is about. That's why it's this ancient form of moving meditation. Yeah, I think. And that's how I've always, I mean, it's not the only way to approach it, but it's the way I think I've almost always approached it. Yeah. Well, and this isn't the tail end, but we're getting closer. I want to share one more thing with you, just one, promise, just one. I know she always says that. CSC sponsored this event, and we sponsor all kinds of events. And you can find us by contacting Nathan through email. Or is that right, Nathan? Is that your email address? No.
Yep,
Nathan.
that'll work.
Hmm?
That would work.
That would work. Okay.
Yes.
Or you could go to our calendar on our website. And I mean, every month there's a rich supply of potential events for you to join. And I know your time is precious. And I thank you for joining us today. First Sundays. So tomorrow, first Sundays. First Thursdays. And it used to be that the first Thursday was always Global Kinship, if any of you have visited that.
Yeah.
And we're now, it's like a three-way split with Global Dreaming and Cosmic Vespers. And I even got to do the Bealtaine walk there in May because it was the first Thursday. We offer electives, and this summer we're offering core shamanism, and there's a free 2-hour intro session, and then we've got the classes, three sessions of 90 minutes each. We'd like a donation if it's possible, and I think there's an asking fee to enroll, but we work with you if money's a difficulty. And the shamanism talks about healing the individual and healing the community, and I think healing the ancestors. I mean, she will go into some interesting things. We've been offering a combination of qigong and haiku writing. So qigong is kind of like tai chi, a moving meditation. Kaleo and Elise graduated from the University of Creation Spirituality long time ago, and they just are wonderful contributors to us. We're happy to have them. We have some community of practice sessions, which is an opportunity to talk to other CSC people in small group. Penny Andrews and Mark, I think it's Steiner, isn't it, Nathan?
Yeah.
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 They're there the fourth Friday at 4:30 Eastern, and we're going to have a rotating group. Or I think it's more fun with twos. So right now we're doing twos. Mel and I will be there on the 8th. The second Friday at 4:30 Eastern. And then next month in September, on that second Friday, Nathan and I will join. And I don't know who's taking October, November, December, but maybe Nathan will come up with some folks or do it by himself. Who knows? This labyrinth walk, the next one will be on the equinox. It'll be Monday, September 22nd. This is a movable feast, typically. So just so you know. And we're offering them this year at 4:30 Eastern time, this time. And then in the end of this month, our certification courses will resume. We're going to open with the reinvention of work. In October, it'll be an introduction to the 4 paths of creation and spirituality. And that's actually going to be 4 sessions, a little bit longer, like 3 hours each. So all of our certification classes are 12 hours each. It just gets broken up differently sometimes. And then in November, Penny Andrews starts with Cosmogenesis, and you're all welcome to attend, and you're able to audit, or again, we'll work with you if money is a difficulty. And then that event I was telling you about next week, the in-person, as Patty is fond of saying, in the wild, gathering in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's over Halloween. It's October 30th through November 1st at Mercy Center in St. Louis. So, John, that'll be a very liminal time, I think. So this is on our website, so I'm going to stop sharing that now. And any final questions or comments of any kind? Again, I know your time is so precious. Thank you and congratulations for giving yourself just a little bit of meditation.
Thank you. And this is available online. This was
Yeah.
recorded.
Yes, I've recorded it and I'll post it probably on Monday. We have a playlist on our channel that's all of the Labyrinth walks that we've done in the past couple of years.
Thank you. Thank
Except
you.
for the time when
Except for when we've had, technical difficulties.
wow, we've what's
you gonna
the
do?
name? We forgot to record it.
Yeah, there we go.
That happens, Anybody else? Thanks for being here. So let's just, you can unmute yourselves and goodbye. Thank you. And scatter
Thank
your
you.
seeds
Thank
and
you.
gather your
very
heart.
much.
Thank you, Marianne.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Scatter seeds. Yes.
Think
Thank
about
you.
what you're harvesting. What are you harvesting?